to do other things because some pregnancy centers are able to get on campus and able to get print materials to have. And the way they'll be able to do that is from funds. So 10% of your purchase is going to go to that. You should go to shopthepinkrose.com and then you can use the code othergirls10 and get 10% off your purchase. Okay. So our first story. Okay. So last TCAP, we talked a little bit about alpha red pill men and
the conversation got wild.
Yes.
You guys should listen to it. It started so many conversations between me and Andy, between me and Mallory, like between me and my mom. Like, it is.
In the app, a couple people commented on the app. Like,
yes.
And I've been wanting to ignore this because at first I did think that it was just kind of like a niche part of the internet that me and some people like saw and we kind of could read through it or whatever, but it's not. It's grown. Unfortunately, it has gotten so big. The Whatever podcast, just my 2 cents on that. I think it is the stupidest thing on earth. What he does is he gets girls who just are not as well versed in the topic and then brings on men who are very polished and they do this for a living to like beat them in conversations. So I hate the podcast. I do not support it. Low key love you, Lila. She has listened to the podcast before. I don't know if she's listening now, but low key hate that Lila made me try to Google because obviously I'm gonna watch her episode. So low key mad at you for that, but I forgive you because you did an amazing job if you're listening.
Did.
And I'm gonna play a clip from it because I do think it kind of perfectly encompasses what is wrong with alpha male red pill when it comes to us as Christians. You know, if you're a girl that has decided you kind of want to lean into that, then, you know, that's between you, God, and whatever men you decide to sleep with. But those of us who are Christians and who are looking for a good, strong Christian men, which it's starting to feel, or few and far in between, this clip completely encompasses this. So I wanted to talk about it. It was a while ago, but I feel like not a lot of people are talking about this clip. They're talking about another clip, but I think this clip is more interesting. So give me 1 second.
Fire away, if you have only one place in your heart for one woman, or you want to have one woman in your heart, I think you said, why don't you just commit to one and choose to be faithful to her?
I'm just not wired that way. I spent my whole 20s trying to fix myself.
You're made of self-control. You work out, you do business, you can possess your own power and you direct it the way you want to direct it.
I am.
Do you think that might be a limited mindset?
I think it's none of your business, but I don't want you to think I'm triggered by you. I'm not. I saw somebody say that, and I think that's interesting. I think you're annoying. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? No, you are. You're annoying in like this goody two shoes type way, and that's fine. I'm gonna live my life on my terms, unapologetically, like truly. So you can ask me this 85 different ways. At the end of the day, I'm gonna walk out of here the same man.
Can I ask you one more question?
Okay.
That was a non-answer.
Right. So sorry, I like literally just coughed right into the microphone. I'm sorry, y'all. It was definitely a non-answer. My favorite part, so 2 things really, sorry, I'll go first, I guess. So my 2 favorite parts was when she literally put that on is that a limited mindset? I want that on t-shirt. Love that. That was so good. And then how, if you look at his body language, I'll link it so you guys can watch the clip. He is like away from her, and if you watch the full interview, I'm curious if they talked before because he seemed like he had already hate and disdain for her from the very beginning, and I don't know.
He probably knew her well before this even was recorded.
Maybe I guess so, because like I mean he had an attitude with her the entire time, and I think like the idea that, oh, I can't control myself, I have to, I mean, if you listen to the full interview, he said he might have 8 different families, but as long as there's like one man in charge, then everything's fine. You know, that's that attitude of not being able to have self-control. Yes. That is the problem. And sure, men might have, I don't know the research on that, if men are supposed to be having sex with tons of other people. I don't think that's right. In the Bible, that's not what it says. But let's say that research is true. Okay, let's say we find that out. One of the fruit of the Spirit is self-control. God has already told us, this is back to the holy versus happy. God has already told us one spouse. So then use your self-control in one spouse. Now, I'm saying this as someone who's not married. I don't have like this alpha male, sex drive that like, so I can't sit here and be like, yeah, you stop that. Because I can't come at it from that perspective. So I don't know how that feels, but I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, if we go back to the holy versus happy, the Bible has told us self-control and it tells us one person. So
Well, I wanna even go farther than that. I mean,
let's do it.
in this case, holiness does equal happiness, and in most
True.
cases, holiness equals happiness.
That's
Like
true
he
too.
does not look happy.
No.
He is not choosing holiness. Like we constantly choose unholiness, and sure, you might be speaking about temporary happiness, Mallory, which I agree. That is very persuasive and it can make us choose unholiness, but long term, holiness does equal happiness. So
That's true.
I would even like push the envelope a little bit. And again, like you said, Lila did such a good job. I think that she
Amazing
twisted
job.
his narrative. I think she twisted his narrative of, well, aren't you a successful businessman? Like, haven't you proven that you have self-control? Haven't you proven that you're in power, that you're in control? Or are you not? Or are you superficial, narcissist, misogynist? Or are you out of control? Right? These are things that she questioned and clearly he got uncomfortable with.
Yeah. The whole time he like had this terrible attitude, and I was like, oh my goodness, like what is going on here? I think the other aspect of this just goes to show, and I think we posted this on the Instagram the day that we recorded this. When you are looking for a spouse, what you need to be looking for is someone who is tuned into God, who cares more about what God's opinion is, who is leaning into that, as opposed to someone who is just like, you know, trad or just alpha. And I think the problem, and I was having a conversation, in a group chat that we're having a conversation about this, and the problem
Yeah.
is guys like this, like I have seen a couple of his stuff, and I'm like, who is this guy? I've seen a couple of his stuff. Sure, a broken clock is right twice a day. Sure, men should pick up after themselves. It probably does make sense for a man to have a suit. Let me tell you, if you're a guy listening, personally, I love a guy in a suit. Like it completely, like that Spence, the
It's
episode
the
of
shoes for me. It's the
the
shoes for
shoe.
me.
Okay, full suit. Like if you're wearing a suit, you can almost like that's that. So
Game
sure,
over.
game is over. Sure, guys should do that. There's some guys out there who aren't showering and who don't wear deodorant. Yes, please do that. So once again, a broken clock is right twice a day, but it's the
Exactly.
further stuff. It's um he is, and he won't tell us fully what his whole deal is. So here's the other thing too, he could be renting women, like we talked about the other episode. He could just be renting women for pictures and stuff.
Oh,
um
I'm sure he is. No
yeah,
doubt.
so I don't know his full story, but the idea of like you can have as many families as you want. Oh yeah, I have tons of kids. My daughters are going to know. Oh, and then in the same episode, sorry, this just made me remember this. In the same episode, he said something like, "I'm not going to simp for my daughter." What? You're not going to simp for your daughter? Like,
Like get her flowers, like
y-
tell her she's beautiful, take her
right?
out.
And Ruslan was talking about this episode too, and he was like spoken like someone who doesn't have a daughter. I was like, yeah, for sure. Because that's I don't that to me that was crazy to say simp for you're not going to simp for your daughter, and why would you even use the word simp toward your child? So that's kind of
It's
weird.
almost like he's overcompensating. Like it almost
Hmm.
is kind of like it gives me this idea that if some like honestly, I would not be surprised if this man was homosexual because of how
Okay.
much he was overcompensating and trying to prove his masculinity by not being gentle with his daughter. That to me shows you're overcompensating for something. And
Hmm.
another thing, a lot of these guys are giving me similar vibes as the early feminists and the sexual revolution
Yep.
because they were overcompensating for what was a problem. Yes, it was a problem that women were not being given equal treatment, but they overcompensated, right? Now, red pill alpha males are acknowledging, yes, there is a problem. Men are being emasculated, but we're going to overcompensate and we're going to become extreme misogynist.
Yes. And that's how all of these movements are. There's a little bit of good stuff here, and the pendulum swings and they go all the way to the other side. That's, you nailed it. Red pilled men are literally feminists, and that's the title. Red pilled men are feminists. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's that. You guys
Game
let us know
over. I think we can move on to the next story.
Yeah.